to Similarly Different. Hey guys, and welcome to another Similarly Different episode. This week is a solo episode, and listen, I have asked you guys all throughout the last few weeks and months for some topics that will resonate with you. We had a topic come in from Brie, and she said, can you please talk about first date ideas, why they're good, and how can we get past the first date, or is it okay if we don't pass the first date? So I want to talk today about fun, real, and a little flirty first dates. I think that not all first dates end with a love story, and that's okay. And really framing your mind that not every first date has to end with a love story. I understand romanticizing things and, truly having a moment to want to romanticize things, but I think it's also fun just going on first dates to just experience, experiment, and to be honest, do some market research for your heart. So I wrote a few things down and I want to talk about it with you guys. So while they can reveal if they're worth it or not, and even if they don't lead anywhere, you can enjoy them for how they are. I think a lot of the times we put this pressure on first dates, and I personally kind of don't even take into account a lot of the times the first dates, which is why I usually give somebody a second or third date option, because I think of the pressure, the nervousness, and the idea of wanting to portray to you how either their friends, their peers, or their inner dialogue has told them that they have to. And I think it really takes a second or third date to really understand and vibe for a person. Listen, I'm not saying that if there's a first date that is out of the park, horrible or amazing, to not take it into account. But I'm also saying don't put so much emphasis on the first date being perfect. You have to understand you're dealing with somebody that has their own insecurities, their own expectations, their own group of people that they've been talking to. So at that point, there's so many things that go into it. They could have been having a rough week or a slow week or a busy week. So just give it some grace and enjoy yourself. Another first thing about first dates is the rebrand, which is market research. Now, let's start here. When you're dating, you're not just auditioning to be someone's person, you're collecting data. And when I said this to my friend the other day, my guy friend, he started laughing. He says, you're telling me that when you go on dates, it's market research? I said, absolutely. I said, you have to understand, we're forever evolving. I am at a day and age where the way I think about life today is not the same way I thought about it when I was 21, when I was 25, when I was 28. I am 33 years old, and I am not going into wanting to marry the next person I go on a first date with, but I am very intentional about who I spend my time with, whether that's a friend, a coworker, or any person in my life in general. So I do need to do market research to say, hey, one, where do I see this person that I may want to place them? But also in self, how do I feel next to this energy? How do I feel next to the things that this person is sharing? Does this person make me feel good? Do I like how this person makes me feel? Based on the characteristics and the person that is in front of me, their personalities, their culture, the way they handle things, the way they see things, is this someone that I even, first and foremost, want to be around? And then after that, okay, do I have attraction to them? Now, I will say this is something that I think maybe it's the fact that I think things thoroughly and dissect it. But I do know a lot of times people are like, am I just physically attracted to that person? Because honestly, if I am, like, cool, bet, let's move on, let's keep on, and let's see where this goes. For me personally, where I'm not saying that anyone is like myself or should be like myself, but I take the longer approach, which is getting to know a person first and then seeing if I'm attracted to them, because I think attraction is the easiest thing that can come first. So I'm a little bit difficult with that, and I flip it. If I can be attracted to anyone, I want to know that I like the human in them first. Then afterwards, who they are, what they do for a living, and how they look is all an added bonus. And I mean, listen, I'm not just talking out of my ass. If you look at my exes, they literally look like all different people, all different walks of life, all different ethnicities and cultures. And it's because I truly got to know them for who they are. So I think that using dates as market research, in my opinion, is pretty smart. I also started following Becca Bloom. If you guys follow her on TikTok, if you don't know, Becca Bloom is a very wealthy TikToker who comes from very wealthy parents, but she talks about her wealth in a way where it's still inviting. And she has a fiance, and she did this one TikTok video I reposted where she says you have to look at dating as how you would do with investments. You can't go and put everything in the first hand if it's not showing the trajectory that it's going to have success. So it's just like, I'm going to actually put that TikTok in the description of this video just so you guys know, and you guys can reference it back up. But on to the next thing. The unexpected glow up. Flirting is a confidence boost. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, there was somebody on TikTok live that once told me, I divorced from my wife and I haven't dated anybody in 7 to 8 years. I've just been focusing on my child. And that is great and all. And this was from a male. But I do believe that flirting is a need of a muscle that you exercise. Now, obviously, if you're in a relationship, go exercise it with your partner and not with outside people, okay? But if you're not in a relationship and you're watching this episode and you're like, first dates, I don't know. I kid you not, if you stop putting so much heaviness into it and start putting so much more lightness and just like silliness into it, you can have so much fun with it. Because even if the date doesn't go anywhere romantically, there's value in being seen. And the feeling, you can't tell me that nobody likes to be like, oh, I look good, I smell good, guy or girl. And for someone to point it out, or for someone to point out your quirkiness or your silliness. I love when I'm talking to a guy and I get comfortable enough and I start being really goofy and they're like, yo, you're so funny. Because you could go look at my perfected polished pictures, my makeup tutorials. You can look at me on a red carpet and yes, you're going to say, oh, she looks good, whatever. But it's about when you're having that interaction human to human person that you're like, oh, you really mean that. Thank you. So I think going on first dates is also a good way. And also it's a low stake way to reclaim your magnetism. People are going to be attracted to your light, to your aura, if you truly believe it in yourself first. So being able to be around certain energies not only is going to make you understand and be able to identify what energies you do and don't want to be around, but also see how magnetic you can actually be to others. So I think it's fun. And it's a reminder that while you still got it, flaunt it. Another thing is watch out for checklist versus feelings. I think that this goes hand in hand with the pressure that a lot of people put on first dates. You have to, mind and heart and really start discerning and figuring that out. If you don't right now, pause this episode and go to your notes. Something simple. You don't need a pen and paper if you don't have, but go to your notes and write down, what do you truly want in a partner? Put to the side for a second the job, the car, and the money that they have. What do you want in the human? Think about your best friends around you. Think about what you look and admire from other couples around you. What do they exude to each other? What do you love that people point out about you? And write that down. I want my partner to support me in my creative endeavors. I want my partner to affirm me without me having to ask. I want my partner to be intentional. I want my partner to believe in God. For me, that's my first thing because I have dated someone that did not believe in anything. And as much as I didn't think maybe it wasn't going to affect, it did. Because whenever we started talking about just if we were to have a child, or like individually, not together, but if we were to have a child, how we would raise it, for me, it is really important to add faith and for them to believe in God and have a strong faith. And for him, it was just like, I don't really care. And that let me know when I was dating him, like, I think I was like 27, 28, that I was like, oh, this is not someone I could see myself in the long term because this is going to be an issue. Maybe you're Jewish and you don't necessarily want or care if somebody is Jewish as well, as long as they believe in something. And that's fine. But I think it's really being detailed and without being pugged and pulled by family, by friends of what you should have. But what do you really want in a person and what would make you feel warm and cozy inside? And literally, every week, you can chime back into that note and see, now that I've maybe gone on a date with this person, or now that I've thought about it more, actually this is shifting and this is not the reality. It's actually this. Because sometimes we will put fluff over the actual root. So sometimes you might say, I want someone that gives me flowers. But in reality, it's not about the flower that you care about. It's the fact that they thought about you in their own way at their own time. That is what you really want. So intentional gifting. It's not really flowers. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think like really honing down and seeing what will attract you is really, really important. Also, can they carry a convo? Do you like someone that, there's a handful of women that I know that are literally the strong leaders in the relationship, and they would not want the opposite thing to be happening. Okay, do you want someone that allows you to lead the relationship? Do you want someone that can carry a convo? For me, intelligence is so important. And if we're in the same playing field, in the same intelligence level, I notice it's really hard for me to connect when it comes to a romantic level. I really need someone that I can learn from, that I can feel inspired from, that I won't feel stupid to, but that I feel like truly wants to lead me in a direction. I think the best market research is not just writing down lists of bullet things or, like jotting down a person while you're having a conversation with them, which you should never do. Like dissect and process the conversation afterwards and just be in the moment in it and see how it makes you feel. But it's analyzing the patterns. Everybody has off days, but it shouldn't be an off day every day. And I think that's when you realize the difference of this person had an off day today, and now this is who this person is. And don't make excuses for the patterns. Look at the patterns, notice them, and see how you want to move forward with it. The thing with first dates is that you're not stuck to the person. It's a first date. There should be no stress in it because of the fact that you're just getting to know someone. So that's another little tidbit, but it's powerful information that you could use for your market research. Another point number 4, is don't force a conclusion, which is why I personally think that the first dates are a hard thing to make a decision from, unless it truly went to shits. But every first date doesn't need to have a follow-up, and it also doesn't need to have a conclusion of who you think this person is. And let's say that you're like, I'm not into second or third dates, because if I saw who you were on the first date, then that's who you are. That's fine. And your journey is going to be that the person that is supposed to be for you is going to come off the first great date. I try to, I think, like, not analyze, but give a little bit of grace of shyness that people could have, or perception or expectation. But that doesn't mean I've given everybody a second or third date. Now, sometimes it's just a single thing that they said in the first date that you're like, absolutely not. There's been dates with people that I've had conversations about how they see different things of life, and I'm like, I don't even want to convince them. I don't even want to know more about this person. And that's totally fine. You don't owe anyone your energy just because they were nice. And you also, ladies, you also do not owe anyone anything past that date setting just because they took you on a date. And I want to make that very clear. I recently had gone on a handful of dates with someone, and from the get, I told them I move very slow. That's just how I am. I get to know people, and listen, I move very slow. I'm not saying that that has happened in all my relationships, but for the most part, I like to be led as I feel and as I evolve with the comfortability of the person. And the person told me that they were like, no, totally fine. I totally get it. I will have patience. By the second date, I felt very pressured. By the third date, it was like, if I'm being 100% honest with you guys, by the third date, we had an outing the next morning and they canceled it by the time I got home. And when I said, why are you canceling it? They said, well, because I expected a kiss before the night was over. And because you didn't give me one, I just feel like this is not going anywhere. While it's valid to his point, I should not get X, Y, and Z or time with you only if I'm physical with you. And I think that in today's age, a lot of times women feel that way because of the status that you have, the money that you have, or just you just being a man. And a person's interest for you does not always come because of a forward movement in the sexual realm. And we will have an episode about this way deeper in the season, because I actually posted it on Threads about how I love being seen as a human first when it comes to dates, and the lack of that in a lot of dates that I've been going through, and it actually went viral. So I'm going to have a guest with me to talk about that, but that's just a little tidbit for the next episodes coming up. Now, if you've been avoiding dating because it feels exhausting, listen, I get it. You don't know what kind of personality you're going to come across. Guys, I'll even throw you a bone here. You don't know if the girl that's going out to eat with you is just going out to eat to get a free meal. I get it. But I think that if you think about it, I could either go on a date with this guy or girl. I may be paying for the meal or I might be getting a free meal, and then end it there. It could be a new friend. I get it. You may not even, you're like, I'm tapped out for new friends. Okay, cool. But it could be a new friend. It could be a new connection that introduces you to your future partner. Or it could just be someone that helps you learn more about yourself in that moment. This whole idea of, if you go on a first date, you have to sleep with the person. If you go on a first date, you have to give it up. If you go on a first date, it has to be your future partner. Remove that stress from your life and you'll see how life and love and light and funness will flow more into your life. And I think that while I said in the first episode that I had given a freeze to dating, I'm still open to it. But it doesn't mean that I haven't come across a few frogs and a few clowns, if we're being 100% honest. But, you know, it's a circus out here. Now, if you don't need to find the one this week, that's fine because I'm in the same boat. But you do owe it to yourself to be curious. And I think as we're evolving people, you're always going to be finding out different things about yourself and different things that you're going to want in a partner. All right. So one of my producers selected a similarly curious submission around dating. And it says, "Hi, Yanina. I've been out of the dating game for a while, not because I didn't want to meet someone, but because the idea of actually going on a first date feels kind of terrifying. There's something about getting dressed, showing up, and being seen that feels way more vulnerable than I expected. It's not even about the other person. It's about the buildup in my head and the pressure I put myself to seem ready. Do you have any advice for moving through the resistance? How do you find the courage to show up even if you're nervous or unsure? Similarly yours, D." So yes, the idea can be very taunting. I think that while I don't want to lean on substance, sometimes having a little glass of champagne or wine when getting ready can take your mind off it. Obviously, Uber if you're doing this beforehand. But I think also, like I said in the episode, like just sometimes we take ourselves so seriously. And I mean this with the utmost respect to you, but honestly, people have told me this my whole life. Like, you take yourself too seriously. And I think we do. And I think it's literally shaking it off, moving your body, saying, so freaking what? And just laughing through it will help a lot of the times. I think a lot of the times when you're starting to do anything new, it feels weird, uncomfortable, cringe. But the more you do it, the more you realize that it's not that serious. It's not that big of a deal. And you created such an Oscar-winning movie in your head more than it needed to be. I'm not telling you the first date isn't going to be trash or atrocious or horrible, but I'm also not going to tell you that it might not be the best thing that you've ever experienced. You don't know. Life could really surprise you and it could be fun. It could be exciting. You could laugh at it over friends, like even if it goes bad. And I think it's just the fact that you're just telling yourself, I'm just going to do it and do it for myself. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, then you might just have found yourself a new friend, partner, or hey, maybe you don't date him, but then you meet the friends and you find out there's a cuter one in the friend group. I'm kidding. Maybe not. But obviously don't hop around. But you know, maybe they help you introduce you to the next person. And listen, life is hard. Dating, I feel sometimes is even harder. But I think that do it for you, dress up, have fun. And if the date doesn't work out, have a girl on standby that you can go have drinks with. So if this episode did hit home for you, I want you to send it to a friend that you think it will also hit home. Share it on social. Tell me how this hit home to you in the comments. And what was your favorite takeaway? Are you going to really put yourself out there? Maybe it's not tomorrow. But are you going to put yourself out there before the year is over? If you have not been dating because you went through a divorce, a breakup, you have a child, it doesn't have an age. I have seen people find love in all ages of their life. I just want you to do this for yourself to ignite that fire inside of you. Have some fun, giggle, let somebody compliment you. You compliment someone as well, and just see where life takes you, because you actually may be surprised about what life has to offer if you just give it a chance or a few chances. So this was a short and fun episode. Again, if you have a similarly curious question, make sure to submit it, whether it be on the form, on Instagram, or below in the description link. And until next time, bye.